Chapter 1, 1599, Tribulation in Divine Technique. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Southern Border. The sovereign immortal aperture had already been placed. The entrance was open and swallowed a vast amount of heaven and earth chi. Swoosh, swoosh! The turbulent heaven and earth chi approached grandly. If anyone saw this, they would be deeply shocked. No blessed land had ever been able to absorb so much heaven and earth chi at once. Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal body was near the entrance, watching the heaven and earth chi flow in. Because it was too dense, the chi could be seen like moving fog or clouds. Absorb more, absorb more. Take in everything you need, so Fang Yuan smiled. He could tell that the sovereign immortal aperture was very hungry. Citywell Reverse Flow River in Luopo Valley. Even though the three secluded domains of heaven and earth were unique and amazing, they caused a huge burden on the blessed land. The expenditure of heaven and earth chi was intense. From time to time, Fang Yuan had to absorb heaven and earth chi from the outside world to replenish them. And this is before Donghun Mountain gets repaired. After it is restored, the amount of heaven and earth chi needed will be even higher. From this aspect, the destruction of Donghun Mountain had a tiny bit of benefit to Fang Yuan. Of course, the biggest reason was that sovereign, blessed land had a lot of resources. It was like a huge foundation that could handle the weight of four secluded domains of heaven and earth. Ordinary blessed lands could not sustain two of them at once. Placing his immortal aperture and opening the immortal aperture's entrance had several drawbacks to Fang Yuan. At this moment, because the inside and outside were connected, when he absorbed heaven and earth chi, Fang Yuan's location would be exposed to heaven's will. And if any Gu immortal tried to make deductions on him, the difficulty of defending himself would be many times higher. Thus, Fang Yuan had been buying immortal materials and turning them into heaven and earth church to replenish his immortal aperture. But recently, his focus was on repairing Donghun Mountain. He started lacking funds. He could not buy them anymore, so he had to place his immortal aperture to absorb heaven and earth chi. The sovereign immortal aperture was definitely a big eater. It needed dozens or even hundreds of times of heaven and earth chi as ordinary blessed lands. The sovereign immortal aperture had its fill, but heaven and earth chi continued to pour in unceasingly. This phenomenon did not shock Fang Yuan because he knew that this time was different. His tribulation was coming. Fang Yuan was a rank 7 Gu immortal. He faced an earthly calamity every 10 years, a heavenly tribulation every 50 years, and a grand tribulation every 100 years. Ever since Fang Yuan used his time path methods to modify the sovereign immortal aperture's rate of time to its quickest, his calamities and tribulations had been coming at a rapid rate. This was an earthly calamity. But be they earthly calamity or heavenly tribulation, they were not a problem for Fang Yuan, especially when he had the killer move exposing Heavenly Secret. This move used Heavenly Secret Immortal Gu as the core with supplementary Gu worms to allow Fang Yuan to deduce the contents of upcoming calamities and tribulations. Thus, before this earthly calamity even formed, Fang Yuan already knew what it was. As expected, the calamities and tribulations formed like how Fang Yuan had predicted. Earth chi continued to rumble under Fang Yuan's feet, forming into huge yellow spirals. Heaven chi rumbled in the sky, booming as green lightning in the sky continued to flicker. Screech, screech, screech. With a chain of shrill noises that could burst eardrums, terrifying statues emerged from the center of the yellow spiral. These giant statues were 10 meters tall. They were muscular and had sharp teeth that protruded out of their faces. Suddenly, they opened their red eyes as the purple bat wings on their backs expanded. They flew up and charged at Fang Yuan. Yellow Spring Ghost Marshal statues. Fang Yuan floated in the sky. His arms were behind his back as he looked at these statues calmly. He was very relaxed. He could even look at the sky during this critical moment when the enemy approached. In the sky, the green lightning split apart the cloud layer. Countless statues that resembled the Yellow Spring Ghost Marshal statues appeared. The Yellow Spring Ghost Marshal statues bore their fangs and claws. But these statues were very orderly, like a group of troops. They had solemn expressions and huge bodies. There were eagle wings on their backs. Green Lightning Divine Martial statues. Fang Yuan smiled in his mind, recognizing the second type of statue. At this moment, the Yellow Spring Ghost martial statues had already reached Fang Yuan. They slashed their claws and opened their mouths, biting at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan did not move. Ripples appeared on his body. It was the famous creation of Fang Yuan. Immortal Killer Move. Reverse Flow Protection Seal. Be they the Yellow Spring Ghost martial statues or Green Lightning Divine martial statues, their attacks were all reflected back and injured themselves. Fang Yuan was completely unharmed and could not be defeated. Be gone! Fang Yuan waved his hand. Immortal Killer Move. Myriad Dragon burst out within the sea of silver scales. Myriad dragons flew and attacked endlessly. Even though there were many Yellow Spring Ghost martial statues and Green Lightning Divine martial statues produced by the Heaven and Earth Chi, how could they match Fang Yuan's Myriad Dragon? At the start, they could still resist, but soon they were engulfed by the Myriad Dragon army, losing their numbers rapidly. The Heaven and Earth Chi were scattered by the Myriad Dragons. Even though Heaven's will was unresigned and sought to try again, the next wave of Myriad Dragon destroyed the gathering Heaven and Earth Chi again. A moment later, the calamity was over. The Immortal Aperture's entrance closed. The sovereign Immortal Aperture became peaceful again as the turbulence ended. Fang Yuan nodded to himself and concluded, "This earthly calamity only had the Yellow Spring Ghost martial statues originally, but changed because I did not go through the previous earthly calamity, instead using the Immortal Killer Move Endless Trouble to delay it." Immortal Killer Move Endless Trouble was among the contents of He Fan's true inheritance. It could delay the current tribulation until the next time, and undergo both tribulations together. The weakness was that it would anger Heaven's will. The following calamities and tribulations would increase greatly in strength. Heaven's will was trying to suppress Fang Yuan and prevent his cultivation level from advancing. It intentionally made his calamities and tribulations as weak as possible so he could gain few Tao marks. In this situation, the weakness of endless trouble was actually advantageous to Fang Yuan. Thus, Fang Yuan used this killer move to undergo two tribulations together. He could gain Tao marks and Heaven's will could not stop him. Yellow Spring Ghost martial statues were the earthly calamity, while Green Lightning Divine martial statues were on the level of heavenly tribulation. This time, I gained quite a few Tao marks. Fang Yuan inspected it. His soul path and transformation path Tao marks had increased. These were both useful to Fang Yuan. Of course, he needed time path Tao marks the most. The sovereign Immortal Aperture had a huge space. Fang Yuan intentionally chose an empty area to undergo tribulation. Even if Heaven's will wanted to destroy anything, it had no target. Even though the calamity was over, Fang Yuan's body remained here. He started to activate Heaven's will dissipation, only stopping after he confirmed that the remaining Heaven's will was cleansed away. When Fang Yuan's main body underwent tribulation, his time path clone had been staying with Wisdom Gu, deducing immortal killer moves continuously. Previously, Fang Yuan successfully explored the Dream Realm. His time path attainment level rose drastically to Grandmaster level. With this attainment level, he was very successful in deducing time path killer moves. Actually, Fang Yuan's main body had many time path killer moves. Spectral Soul's true inheritance had many, followed by He Fan's true inheritance and Lang Ya sect. In theory, Fang Yuan, with refinement path, quasi-supreme attainment, could deduce and modify these immortal killer moves. But for Fang Yuan, He Fan's true inheritance was his main consideration, because his time path immortal Gu were mostly from He Fan's true inheritance. For example, rank 8 years, flow like water, rank 7-year Gu and after immortal Gu. The remaining time path immortal Gu were all rank 6. Most were left behind from graceful chaotic dual stage, and Fang Yuan also had day immortal Gu. The time path clone's main job was to use He Fan's true inheritance as the foundation along with other immortal killer moves and time path immortal Gu recipes to deduce the most appropriate time path methods for Fang Yuan. Even though not long had passed, the time path clone was extremely efficient. Currently, Fang Yuan had an entire set of time path methods, covering offense, defense, movement, and healing. He just needed to spend some time practicing them, and he could easily grasp them. But this is not enough. The Time Path clone opened his eyes, sighing. The light of wisdom faded away as wisdom goo flew away slowly. The Time Path clone went to an empty area to experiment on the killer move. Immortal killer move. Time cutting edge. A flying blade tore through the sky, instantly vanishing with shocking speed. But the Time Path clone's blood flowed out of his mouth as he shook his head, greatly disappointed. I deduced rank 7 Time Path methods that are suitable for me. But in the river of time, when searching for Red Lotus true inheritance and facing the obstruction of Heavenly Court, I will need to have rank 8 Time Path methods. Heifan's true inheritance had rank 8 defensive killer moves that used years flow like water immortal goo as the core, but it did not have rank 8 offensive methods. In Heifan's case, he only obtained years flow like water in his later years. With limited time, deducing rank 8 defensive methods were already not easy. He had rank 8 level Dow marks, rank 7 offenses were enough for him. Of course, most importantly, he solely had years flow like water. He could either use it to attack or defend himself at one point in time. Defense was naturally more important than offense, especially for a Righteous Path member. And Time Cutting Edge is very extraordinary. Even though rank 7 Time Cutting Edge cannot kill rank 8 experts, it can harm them. It is a pity that after modifying it, the power is far lower than the original, and the backlash is heavier. Fang Yuan was not unfamiliar with this situation. Like how he had created myriad self-immortal goo's recipe, because of his refinement path quasi-supreme attainment level, he had modified it to its limits. Any minor adjustment would be detrimental and make it worse than before. Fang Yuan's modification of Time Cutting Edge was similar. It seems that the complete Time Cutting Edge killer move is a rank 9 killer move. Like how Spectral Soul Demon Venerable Immortal killer move Orderly Well was also rank 9 and could not be modified further. Even though Fang Yuan only obtained the rank 6 and 7 Time Cutting Edge, even the incomplete versions could not be modified. After forcefully changing the content, the disadvantages far outweighed the advantages. Furthermore, with Fang Yuan's deductions, Time Cutting Edge's memory loss effect was not simple. It was not as plain as the old man had described it. The memories lost were not just about the move, but everything related to the move. Any information related to this move, be it memories or records in information path, goo worms, even carvings on stones would be erased from the river of time as this move got used continuously. Spectral Soul must have obtained Time Cutting Edge in the past, but because he used it often, all of the information that he had regarding Time Cutting Edge was erased from the river of time. Therefore, it was not inside Spectral Soul's true inheritance. Of course, there is a possibility that Spectral Soul's true inheritance is not complete. Shadow Sect still kept a small portion of it, including this hidden from me, but that is very unlikely. Regardless, I am sure of something. This Time Cutting Edge is truly a divine technique. If I can grasp it, I will have more confidence in the river of time. My chances will rise by 20%. A day later. This is it. Lu Wei Yin half knelt on the ground as he placed his palm down, sensing the changes in the earth chi. Next, several figures descended from the sky and landed behind Lu Wei Yin. They were led by an old woman, the rank 8 Time Path Great Expert, Xie Clan's first Supreme Elder, Xia Cha. Fang Yin placed his aperture here and absorbed the heaven and earth chi. In fact, he went through a tribulation here, Lu Wei Yin said with deep certainty. Xia Cha's eyes flashed brightly. Lu Wei Yin was indeed Paradise Earth's inheritor. His Earth Path methods were profound to this extent. The Gu immortals behind them started to converse. With Lord Lu Wei Yin here, we will be able to find Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan has many secluded domains of heaven and earth. The burden of heaven and earth chi is huge. With such a clue, we will definitely find him. Don't you all find it strange? He has fixed immortal travel. Why is he staying in southern border? Why not go to Eastern Sea or Western Desert? Aren't those places safer? He is already wanted by everyone. Nobody can tolerate him. Nowhere is safe. This demon is too vicious. He is likely staying in southern border because he wants to rob our resources, especially the dream realms in Yicha Mountain. We cannot let them go unguarded. Kill. We need to kill this demon before we can rest at ease.